Welcome back to the table, friends. Grab your dice, pull up a chair. Today we're going to be looking into something different in the Palladium universe, megaverse, as you can see to my side over here. I want to talk about this game that usually sits in the shadows of Rifts or Robotech, but honestly, it has more grit than almost anything else in Palladium out there. I'm talking about systems failure today. If you were around in the late 90s, you remember the Y2K scare. People were stockpiling canned peaches, bottled water, because they thought the world's computers were going to forget how to tell time. We all laughed in January 1st when this hit and the lights stayed on and nothing really happened. Remember the stickers that were on the computers saying, don't forget, don't restart your computer, things like that, that Best Buy, not Best Buy, was a computer center? I forgot what it was called. Compu Center or something like that. But in this book, anyway, the lights didn't just go out, they started hunting us. The night we stopped the world, let's set this scene. December 31st, 1999. The world is at the height of the dot-com bubble, as they called it. Everyone is connected. We have internet. We have cell phones. We have a power grid that covers the globe like a giant global blanket. To us, it was progress. To these bugs, it was a dinner invitation for them. The meltdown wasn't a glitch, it was an interdimensional invasion. These beings, these bugs, are not biological in the way you understand bugs. They're energy vampires. They saw our global grid and realized it was a giant planet sized nervous system they can hijack and snack on. When the clock struck midnight, they didn't just crash the satellites, they traveled through the phone lines and the power cables. Imagine you're at a party watching the ball drop on Times Square. We've all probably done that at one point. The countdown hits zero, and suddenly the screen doesn't go black. It starts to pulsate with a sick blue light. It just boof, boof, boof. And then 6 foot tall beetle made of a jagged chitin and glowing electricity crawling out of the television, coming towards you. That happened in every living room, every hospital, every military base, all at the same exact time. In one night, civilization didn't collapse, it was practically deleted. We need to talk about the bugs themselves because they are fascinating from a game perspective when you look at them. They are just gluttons. They don't want to rule us, they want to consume the energy we produce. There are different tiers of these disgusting bug things. They have the soldier bugs, which are the frontline tanks. They have bioblasters that can melt through a car door if need be. Then you have the scouts, which can move through phone lines like digital ghosts. But the real horror comes from the stink bugs, and we all hate stink bugs, we know that. Stink bugs are like the office managers of the bug apocalypse. They're tall, they're lanky, and they carry silkworms. But the silkworm is the most terrifying mechanic in the book. It's like a brain grub. If you get captured, they don't eat you. They shove this grub up your nose and it eats your personality. It replaces yourself with bug instincts. Within hours, you are a silkworm zombie like this. And you have your memories. You still know how to drive a car or shoot a gun, but you are now a slave to the hive. You are the Borg, so to speak. You might be leading some bugs to your family's hidden bunker. This creates an incredible amount of tension for players. In most games, if you get hit, you just lose HP. In systems failure, if you get tagged, you are on a literal countdown to losing your soul. So there was a resistance too, the splatterpunk resistance, so to speak. So how does humanity fight back when our own technology is really the enemy? This is where the game gets its splatterpunk from. The whole vibe. Since bugs eat electricity, you cannot use high-tech gear. A laser rifle from Rifts would just be a snack for the bug. If you turn on a cell phone, you're dead. So the human resistance went low and dirty, low tech. We started using organic tech. This is a practice of harvesting bioorganic weapons from dead bugs and grafting them into our own gear. We would use what we called bug juice, their literal blood, as a high energy fuel source. Yeah, it sounds gross and it's dangerous, but was the only way to really kind of win this war. You had classes in this game, OCCs, excuse me, that aren't just mechanics, like the Grease Monkey. They are wizards of the junk heap. They build stem powered tanks, they convert old tractors to run on fermented alien guts. They are the only ones who figured out that 1950s technology is actually better because it doesn't have microchips that the bugs can possess. Now, the heroes of Free America. Let's look at the occupational character classes because they tell the story of the setting. First, you have the Exterminator. These are the guys who live for the bug hunt. They wear heavy armor made from chitin shells and carry massive bug zapper shotguns. They are also the frontline grunts of Free America. They are often scarred, cynical, and tiny bit crazy because they're the ones that are doing all this crap. Then you have the Freehold Sheriff. Think of these guys as post apocalyptic Texas Rangers, so to speak. They travel between the freeholds, the human sized settlements, trying to keep some law and order together. In a world where there is no internet, no federal government, the sheriff's word is the only law that matters. They're the ones who keep the warlords at bay and make sure the bug snitchers don't sell out the town. Yeah, there are bug snitchers. And we can't forget the almost important survivalists. These people who were actually ready for Y2K, the preppers, those people you call them. They have the bunkers, they have the stored grain, they have the I told you so attitude. They are the backbone of the new economy. They might be grumpy, um, they might have too many booby traps set up, but they are the real reason humanity is still breathing at this point. Mechanically, Palladium did something brilliant here with the machine union rule. The bugs can merge with machines. If you try to drive a modern car with an onboard computer, a bug can possess that car. It can lock the doors, floor the accelerator, and drive you straight into a wall. This forces players to kind of think differently when it comes to the game itself. You find yourself getting excited over a 1965 Mustang, not because it doesn't have a computer chip, but because it's a classic car, because everyone's going to get excited about that. You start valuing mechanics over digital ones. So mechanical things that are old, pre these chips, are going to be your lifesavers. It is a complete reversal of how we play a lot of these modern or post-apocalyptic RPGs. Usually you want the most advanced gear or whatever to try to defeat the situation. Here we want the most dumb gear, so to speak. The map of the US and system failures is kind of a mess. The big cities are gone. New York, Chicago, LA, they are now just giant crawling bug towns. They are glowing, humming hives of alien activity. Humans do not go there unless they have a death wish or a nuclear warhead flying down behind them. The rest of the country is pretty much dead zone. It is filled with these little pockets of settlements trying to farm the land without attracting too much attention. You have these people called grid walkers now here that also work in this area. People who scavenge the old power lines for parts. You have biker gangs who are actually the good guys acting as couriers between towns because they have the only working vehicles really left at this point. So my advice here, if you're going to run this game, my advice is to lean into silence. The bugs are quiet. They don't roar like Tyrannosaurus Rex, or they don't hum like a refrigerator. They hide in the walls, they hide in the toaster. The game is about resourcefulness. It's about a group of survivors in a rusty truck, armed with scavenged alien guns, trying to take the world back, literally, on one town at a time. One thing I always tell my players when they want to play this game, or people look at this game and get interested, every light is a target. If you find a working flashlight, use it sparingly. If you find a generator, hide it deep underground. The bugs can smell electricity like a shark smells blood in the water. There's also a deep political layer to this game. You have the warlords who have taken over old military bases. They claim to be protecting people, but they're really just building their own little kingdoms now. Then you have the Free America loose collection of settlements trying to rebuild the Republic. As a player, you're kind of caught in the middle of all this. Do you side with the warlord who has the guns and the food, even if he's a tyrant, like, for example, Negan in The Walking Dead? Or do you risk it all for the dream of a free country and side with Rick Grimes and the gang in Walking Dead? This isn't just a monster slaying game, it's about what kind of world you want to build from the ashes. Now let's go back to some of the classes that were involved here for this. And there's one called Sawbones, specifically a worm killer offshoot. Being a doctor in this world is a nightmare. You don't really have access to all the latest tech and antibiotics. You don't have a clean operating room, and you're constantly dealing with alien parasites. The worm killer is basically a hero. They are the ones who venture into bug towns to rescue people who were recently tagged. Imagine the stealth missions. You now have to sneak into a hive, find the nursery where the humans are being held, extract them before the 8-hour window closes. Then you have to perform brain surgery in the back of a moving van with a rusted scalpel. This kind of high tech drama is what System Failures kind of provides to you when it comes to the game. System Failures is more than just a 90s nostalgic relic. It's a survival horror game that asks, what do you do when the tools you rely on every day become the enemy? It is fun, it is fast, and it is the great break from the high fantasy stuff. The art in the book is fantastic as far as I'm concerned. It captures the grit and everything is broken kind of feel perfectly in the game. It makes you feel like the cold of the world without central heating and the fear of the world without a 911 dispatcher ready to answer your call. So tell me your best bug hunt stories if you played this game. Have you ever had a chance to get tagged in this game? How did the party handle it when you got tagged? Did the worm killer pull it off, or did you have to do the old yeller thing with one of your player characters, or even an NPC for that matter? So if you've enjoyed this, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. It helps the channel and keeps the bugs out of my hardware. No, I'm just kidding. It just helps the algorithm in there. Until next time, keep your batteries shielded, your power dry, and your eyes on the shadows. I'll see you at the table. Stay safe out there, and don't let the grid bite.
Don't ever laugh as the hearse goes by, for you may be the next to die. They wrap you up in a big white sheet from your